When I'm setting up my paintings in Procreate, first thing I do is I go to the photo itself. And I will go and I will basically crop the photo as close as I think that I will need it for my painting. And you'll understand in a minute when you see the next step as to why I go and I crop it first. Because basically you want to have as little background as possible because you need to go in and you need to erase that background. So have as little background as possible. So now I have the photo where I need it. So I go into Procreate. I'll go into screen and then I'll set up a canvas, and I'll go in, then I will add a photo. And I go back then, I'll add my cropped photo that I have. See, if you have a lot of things like I do, it's good if you have it organized. And then I'll make the photo, kind of a little bit larger, about where I think I need it. It doesn't have to be perfect here. It just have it on the page so that you can be able to work with it. Then now when I have it exactly, kind of where I want it, I can decide here on the edge there, you can decide how big you want to have your eraser. You'll notice that the third one there where it's highlighted in blue is the eraser. And this erases just like you would kind of use an eraser on a pencil or something else. You can go in and you can kind of erase the background. And because I'm going to be painting this with an oil, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like the lines don't have to be perfect. I just need it to be good enough that I can be able to, kind of check out what my background will be able to, see exactly what I need for this little puppy here. And so I just kind of go in and just sort of, follow the lines as much as I see the lines. And then I just sort of, as I keep going, I just keep erasing it. And just do it as you see, as you think that you will need. Because obviously, with painting, you can adjust it. So, here I've decided that I don't really I'm not going to paint that little cushion that he's on. So I will take all of that off. Go here, take some things, behind on his ear. And, kind of check his hair and other things. So first I like to go in and sort of outline it first. And once I've sort of gotten the outline, then I kind of go in with a bigger, sort of eraser. And I will go in and I'll just sort of like erase those parts. So everything where it's sort of white there now is being actually erased, meaning the background is being taken out of the picture. So I can keep, kind of erasing it all, here. And, wherever there's like a little bit of black, you can go over it and kind of, you can decide, how perfect you need to get it, whether if you could show a little bit of black or you don't want to show any black at all, then you can, kind of decide that yourself. So you can go on here and you can keep deciding what you want to erase. And you can keep erasing it. And to get the background as clean as you want to get it. Now, if you feel like you need to get a little bit more of a detail, you can kind of take two of your fingers onto the canvas there, and you can make it larger so that you can see clearly in exactly what you're doing or where you are taking out the background. So when you could take it out again, you can go into the other parts there. That's what I kind of like. This is sort of how I like to work with first outline and then work with some of the bigger and then the smaller areas. You kind of look at it, you can sort of decide, is this really what I want to do? And if it's not, here's a great thing about Procreate. Double tap both the fingers onto your canvas there, and you see how I didn't really quite like the ear that I was doing there, so I'm going to go back and redo it again. But if you double tap with two fingers, it always takes you back, and so you can keep double tapping if you need to, and just go in and get as far back as you need to get, and decide how far back you exactly want to go on it. That's really something that I love about Procreate, the fact that, nothing is really permanent until you save it into the gallery. So as long as you're working here on the canvas, you can keep double tapping with your two fingers and you can change whatever you need to change. So now I'll go back again and I will go in and I will start continuing to keep erasing the background on this. And keep erasing as much as I need to. You can make on the side there, you can see I've moved the size. You can move it up or down according to what size you want the eraser to be. So this is really like a great tool because you can decide how big you want the eraser to be. You can decide how small you need it to be for the detail. When I'm working on big spaces, I of course make it bigger. If I need more detail, then I can kind of make it smaller. You can go in any direction you need to go with your pencil on the canvas, and you can just sort of like outline and erase it as you need to erase it. And until you have it exactly the way you want it to be. So again, two fingers, you can move the canvas. And here I'm going again around the outline there. I changed the ears because I kind of felt like I maybe had too much in there it was going to be more of an empty. It's going to be empty, or it was going to kind of be too, there's going to be too much of a color in there that I needed, that it wasn't quite the right proportion of what I wanted to be able to see. So basically, it's just a matter of just tracing, erasing. So it's a very, very simple process that we are doing here. One of the things I need to mention is from the beginning is make sure, you put this on, again, Procreate works in layers. So, this is on one layer. And then you'll see as we get going here, we're going to put on other layers. But just remember that Procreate is kind of a program which is about layers. So you need to be sure to use the layers. It will really help you. If you make a mistake on one layer, then you don't have to redo all the other layers. So that's just a little tip I wanted to kind of remind everybody about Procreate. And also using your two fingers as you need to move the canvas around any direction you feel comfortable in drawing or like in this case, erasing here. You can move the canvas around. You can move it back quite easily with your two fingers too. So you can basically just kind of move it around. This really is what makes it a great tool, that you're using your hand a lot like you would if you're actually erasing or drawing. It's just so much easier than trying to figure it out exactly onto a computer program. Now I fast forward to this here where you can see I pretty much have taken and erased the entire background as I wanted to be able to see it. So you can kind of get an idea of how it looks. It kind of looks like this in a white sort of background. The background is all away, and I just have mainly where I want the puppy or the dog to be. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and add another layer. And now that I've added the layer, I'm going to also get the color of the dog, because there's a couple of areas I just sort of feel like I want to just sort of paint in a little bit. And so this is also a great thing. Then you can decide which kind of brush you want to use. Procreate's got a bunch of different brushes. You can actually set up if you want to have a studio pen, or do you want to have something more which would be more like an actual paint brush. So you can go in and you can kind of use that and use kind of the color that sort of matches quite well. And you can go in if you have a little bit that you want to fill in or you want to adjust. You can kind of go in at this point here now, and you can go in and adjust it as you want to, or do a little touch-ups in little areas. Again, for me, this doesn't have to be perfect, because this is just, I'm going to be using this as my layout to paint off of. So when I'm actually painting, I will go in and actually correct things too. So this is not a matter of it having to be completely perfect in every way. Now I'm going to add another layer. And for this layer, I'm going to kind of use, and I'm going to, I want to put a little necklace on this dog because I want to be able to paint a necklace. So I'm kind of using now like a red pencil and just sort of sketching where I kind of want the necklace to be. And the reason I'm doing it kind of orange is because that is not the color that I want. but I want to be able to see exactly what I'm doing easily on the canvas. So I sort of use a little bit of an orange, and I'm kind of doing these little beads that I will be painting for his necklace. So you can basically draw anything that you want to draw on this in any way, just kind of like you would if it was your own canvas. Now I want it to be kind of a 3-tier necklace, so I sort of like that now. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to add the color to it. I want it to kind of be a gold necklace. So I will then go and I will do what's called clipping mask, which means that you can add this color on top of another color. And as in all things in Procreate, it will be another layer. So I'll go in, there's a layer there, and I'll go in, I'll have to add another photo, and I'll go here to find my different color chips that I have all different types of colors here. And I'll go in and find one of the gold ones that I think that I will like, and I will put it over where I've just drawn, and then I go to that layer and do clipping mask, and you can see that it shows out that it is a gold color. Now if I don't like that gold color, which I think it kind of looks a little bit light, don't worry, you can erase that layer. I can go back in again to find my color chips again, and I think I need something that's going to be kind of maybe a little bit darker, a little bit of a darker gold, and I'll put it on that gold there on top of where I think it will be, clipping mask, and there. Yes, I like that better. That just looks like a better color, something more that I might try to paint or might try to add some kind of gold leaf to. So there I've done so far, we've erased the background, we've done the little necklace there, and then we've done clipping mask on top of the necklace itself. Now I want to add a crown to him. So I've sort of found this crown online that I like. So I now add it on top of all of these other layers. You see I can move it around any way I want to onto the canvas. And I'm going to, sometimes you have to be careful. It kind of gets flipped around or gets to be, can kind of be a little bit of a problem to work with. So you'll find it where you kind of think the size is. I sometimes make it bigger than what I need to be when I'm going to work with it now at the beginning. So as I'm working with this, I'm going to do basically the same thing that I did with the dog itself, in that I'm going to start taking it and just erasing the background of the crown, because again I want to be able to take that background out. So I will do follow the exact same steps as I followed before in tracing around it first, like I'm doing here, and then erasing the entire background of it. And also, if you want to at this point, you can decide if you want to be able to adjust the crown in any way. If you want to, change it, you can change it also through erasing the background. I did the same steps with the other one. I made sure that I did the cropping first before I imported it, so I would have less of a background to erase. Because again, the idea is that you want to have as little of a background as possible to erase, because it will, in the long term, save you quite a bit of time and effort in this. Even though erasing doesn't take a long time, but I just find that it's easier if the picture itself doesn't have a lot of background to actually erase while you're erasing it. I kind of like to be able to see it against a different color. This is the background, so the white works great because you can really sort of see what you're working against. If you have a white background, you might want to change the background to not be white, because it's kind of hard to see exactly where you're erasing. But this works great because the background on this photo happens to be black. Again, you can do the same thing. You can move the details in, or take the detail, move it in and be able to work on it, so you can work with the actual details itself. So you just keep doing the same steps that I've done before with the dog, with the first puppy, or with the dog. You just keep doing the same steps, keep erasing it as you go along. It's actually quite relaxing to do this in some ways. Sometimes I'm watching TV or something else. I'll sit down and have my iPad out, and I'll be kind of erasing it. Sometimes it's almost a bit therapeutic too. So it can be quite a fun thing to do, and it's a fun way to be able to set up your oil paintings before you actually paint them. Here you can see that as I, do in the inner part, and how, you can see how the crown is starting to come together. Now, I might want to change this inner part. I don't really care that much for that little medallion thing in the center, so I think I will do some adjustments there at this point and make it look a little bit more like a heart, complete heart, or like an upside down heart, because that's kind of more what I want to be able to see in my painting. Now this crown's almost completed, just have a little bit left to do, and then we're ready to take that once we can see that we think it looks good enough. I can then take that layer and I can move it and decide how I'm going to place it on him. And I love this because you can play with the position a little bit. You can really decide where and how you want it to sit on his head. You can make sure it looks right, or how big it is, or how small it is, or anything. At this point too, if you want to, if you see some of the background that maybe needs to be cleaned up, you can actually start to clean that up if you feel that's something you need to do. Now that I have the painting where I want it to be, I can now start and I can go back to the background layer. And on the background layer, I can just decide on which color I want. I like that purple, but we can try something else. We can see, what if we did something brighter, like an orange? No, I'm not really that big on the orange. I could try green. Maybe something like a softer type of blue. I don't mind the blue, but I think I'll probably stick with the purple because I want this to be kind of feminine. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out our website, AnitaLouiseArt.com, with hashtag art that makes you smile. Thank you so much.